I want to just throw to a trailer of an episode that you did. It wasn't the first thing you did with Big Finish, but it was certainly the one that stood out most in my mind. And I'm going to throw in a trailer for a Seventh Doctor adventure called Night Thoughts, where you play. Speaking of horror, you must have really tapped into your horror, your love of horror for this role that you had. And it certainly stuck out in my memory. It's one of the best trailers Big Finish have ever done too. I'm going to throw it in right here.
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
Not all photographs bring happy memories.
There was a toy, a kid's doll on the table, and a guy called Haiti. Or something. No, Hearty, I think. And they were trying to force him to operate.
I hereby certify that I am taking my own life. No one else is involved, and no one else should be punished. 10 years ago, I made a terrible error of judgment, and God alone will be my judge. My one wish is that I am not mourned. No funeral, no flowers, no fuss. You will all know what this means.
So, this is to be a battle of the minds, is it, Doctor?
So nice of you to come unarmed.
Please don't hurt me. I've told you before. It wasn't me, it was the others. I argued your case. Please, leave me and please, go away!
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
Mother dead, father gone. We think your sister's drowned.
You know what's really freaking me out here? You. Sat here telling me all this so rationally. I've just tied up a devious clinical psychopath, and now I'm actually listening to what you've got to say.
This is a message from the future. Repeat. This is a message from the future.
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
Alex! Where the hell are you? Yeah, alright, I'm lost. And I can't see a thing. Keep calling and I'll run towards you.
No! Don't run! For God's sake, don't run!
That's it! Keep calling!
Ace! Ace!
Ace!
They killed her! They killed my baby! Thought she was dead! Tried to mask it out! Which one did it? Which one? I'll hunt them! I'll slice the truth out of them one by one! Gouge it out like my baby's eyes! And then...
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
All right, so thank you for that performance in Night Thoughts, Lizzie.
Creepy as.
Very, very creepy. What are your memories of that, by the way? Before we talk more about you, what are your memories of that particular recording?
I'm blown away you chose that one. It is one of my favourites, and I was anticipating you maybe asking me my favourites as from an actor's perspective, and Happy is right up there. Right up there. It was incredible working with Sylvester McCoy as well and that team, because he's so lovely, and this was such a dark story. And it was the time when I was doing so many of the audios for Gary Russell, and he was just trusting me with a million billion things before the TV version took off, and he knew that he could get far more famous people than me. I was on that list. So I got pulled in to do all sorts of things, and it all came from the voice. And could we create a voice that was that hideous? And I could. And he was so freaked out by it, Gary, that he actually he bought a toy rabbit and then destroyed it, and that's the picture of the rabbit on the front of the CD, and he still got it, and it freaked us all out anyway, just to seeing the actual real version of it. But yeah, I used to creep up behind him and do that voice in his ear. I still do it now. One thing I remember is it really actually hurts, and after a while you kind of lose the ability, you realise you're doing your vocal folds mitigated damage. But yes, it was an absolute joy. I think the atmosphere was very much around us in the studio as well. That whole story, it was so creepy, and the sound effects, the way that story has been dealt with by the sound producers is just beautiful.
Forget the sound effects. You just gave me goosebumps just doing it then.
I'm so sorry. Sorry, Dwayne.
Oh, stop it. All right, let's go back.
We have reviewed that in a previous episode, haven't we, Dwayne? So
we did an episode of Big Finish's scariest stories, and if anyone ever asks me what is Big Finish's scariest, I always pick that one as my number one. So
really, I'm so thrilled.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're scary, poor old Dwayne. Yeah, you're lovely. You are.
I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here with my little stress ball of blue tack, just getting very scared just thinking about it.
Well, let's face it, it's hard to properly scare people, especially now when we're so used to watching the news and being scared. If you can write a story and scare people without, having an X-rated side to it, then there's proper storytelling. So that's certainly not just me, that's the whole team of doing that, I think.